love fire and watching it, smelling it, tasting it. A flame, its swirl and whirl and sputter and spark, is infinitely unique, constantly changing, like me, like us. Of course all candles burn out, but we must still burn. Pink Floyd, Saucer Full of Secrets. Set the controls for the heart of the sun. That's where Dana and I are going. Join us. My debaters and I watched Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey this spring in an introduction to the resolution. All of us who had watched the movie discussed technology, fear, curiosity, evolution, science, violence, knowledge. But I can rely on my friend Kirsten to be the candle, the laser, to illuminate what gets closest to the truth. She said, it's us, it's in us. The creative will, the push for more, the drive to explore. It is that creative will and explorative drive that we affirm in the resolution, which certainly goes beyond puny limits such as the mesosphere. Watch this scene from Kubrick's film. When we explore creatively, we experience power and aggression. We also see beauty and feel love. We may be frightened. We may face the inexplicable. We may face the end, beginning, in between. The Stargate sequence from 2001. Experience the images of Jimi Hendrix, valleys of Neptune arising, Mercury liquid, emerald shining, tell me where I came from. Honey sun, turquoise bed he lays in on the burning edge horizon. I'm sailing on the Bluebird's mission. Bubbles and curls and tiptoes in the foam. See the wind make love to all, the ocean. Joy spread and the massage got home. Singing about the valley of sunsets, purple and gold, the armies of the Lord. Before ancient Egypt, there were moon trips, the valleys of Neptune arising. I see visions of sleeping peaks erupting, releasing all hell that will shake the earth from end to end. And this ain't bad news, good news, or any news. It's just the truth. Better save your souls while you can. Singing about the new valleys of the sunrise. Rainbow clean the world is going to be. Singing about getting ready for the new tide. The valleys of Neptune arising. We may experience the end of the world, the end of our worlds. The universe is not a hippie playground. This is not our argument. We are people of experience. Are you experienced? I have to tell you something about my mother. For decades after my father died in an accident, she had dreams which terrified her, and my brothers and I would awaken to her muffled screams and moans. It was mainly my brother Hugh and I who would bring her back to the night, and sometimes it was not easy. We would say, Mom, Mom, it's just a dream, and gently shake her shoulder. She would come back to the now, but the terror and loss of her dream lingered in her eyes. Eventually, she tried medication. The dreams lessened, but my mother did not like using drugs. She was already on too many for her arthritis, her blood pressure, her liver that was slowly failing. She threw the pills away and continued to face her dreams. And my brother and I, and later Grandma Mabel, would awaken her. She faced her nightmares and carried on, a strong, beautiful person. She had the will to let it be. Of course, there is much darkness we must face in our lives, but there is also dazzling light and hopefulness. And we should be children playing in that light space, creating, learning, growing, exploring. And we can explore together. When John Lennon decided to create and record a song in a single recording session from start to finish, he called some friends. And they decided that was a cool idea and showed up. In 8 hours, they had composed and practiced enough. John, Yoko, and the musicians in the studio invited others who were there with friends or part of the crew to join in on backing vocals. The song was recorded in one take. Dana and I invite you to sing along. Instant karma. John's going to get you. Got the lyrics, folks? You better get yourself together. Pretty soon you're going to be dead. What in the world are you thinking of? Laughing in the face of love. What on earth are you trying to do? It's up to you. Yeah, you. Karma's gonna get you. Right face. You better get yourself together, darling. Join the human race. How in the world are you gonna see? Laughing at fools like me. Who on earth do you think you are? A superstar? Well, right you are. We all shine on. Come on. Have you got any energy? Are you alive? And we all shine on. On and on and on.
Fuck, that's from the China dessert. Thanks.
Gonna knock you off your feet. Better recognize your brothers. Everyone needs. Why in the world are we here? Surely I really hate here.
Why on earth are you there?
Whenever you're there,
Get your share. Y'all shine on. We're in the stars and the sun. We all shine on. Come on, on, on. Shine on. And we all the stars in the sun. And we all shine on. The stars in the sun. We all shine on. Like the moon and the stars in the sun. Yeah, we all shine on. Like the moon and the stars in the sun. We all shine on. Like the moon and the stars and the sun. We all shine on. Like the moon and the stars and the sun.
Leonard and his friends creatively improvised, much like my brothers and I, when we went down to the creek in the pasture on a summer afternoon on the farm. My brothers liked to fish, and I was pretty little. I was about 5 or 6. And I never liked to fish. I didn't want to do that. But I loved going to the creek. I loved going down to the bed of the creek. And I especially liked going down there in the summer and being barefoot and on a hot summer day sinking my toes in the oozy mud of a creek bottom. And I liked to explore while they fished. I would go down the bank and I was always looking for things like, well, arrowheads, or maybe just old junk that people had thrown away because people threw stuff in the creek and then you'd find their junk. It was like artifacts from the past. And then, of course, there was worms and there were bugs, and there was just all kinds of cool stuff. And I wandered away from my brothers. And they warned me, though. They said, Fred, you could be walking around in that creek, and it could be water up to here, and all of a sudden you could come into a hole, and you could just, boom, 10 foot down in kind of a whirlpool. They said, that's pretty dangerous. You better be careful. But I was like, come on. I got to go exploring. And I kept going a little bit farther, and a little bit farther, and a little bit farther. Now, my mom wasn't the only one that had dreams about my father. She wasn't the only one that had dreams in the night. I remember the first time it happened, I was probably 3 or 4 years old. And I didn't wake up right away, but I saw this image in my mind, and it was a red planet with a red moon and red sand blowing. And then there was a red lion staring me straight in the face. And when I was little, I got very frightened by that, and I ran down to my mom. I was just like, Mom, there's this planet, there's this lion, everything's red, there's red blowing. And I was just scared, and she comforted me. And I went to bed with her, she cuddled me, and I went back to sleep. And it scared the heck out of me the first few times I had that dream. But over the next few years, as I got a little older, when I was about 5 or 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, I kept having the dream. And after a while, I wouldn't wake up. I would actually just sleep. I'd wake up in the morning, and I realized that that dream was comforting me. Now, when I was about 12 or 13 years old, we moved into town. We moved into the big city, Schuyler, Nebraska, about 3,200 people. But we still wanted to get back to the country. So as we got old enough to be 13, 14, 15, and had our learner's permits, we'd go driving around the country. Yes, sometimes drinking beer and looking up at the night sky. And what we did is we listened to music, the music of the 1960s and 1970s, played on KWAY from Little Rock, Arkansas, a 50,000-watt station. And we would hear the sounds of music like Jimi Hendrix, hearing the roar and moan and shriek of Hendrix' Stratocaster, filling that big night country sky. And I realized, and still realize, the creative power we all possess and must use. Voodoo Child, Jimi Hendrix. Will I stand up next to a mountain, chop it down with the edge of my hand? Will I stand up next to a mountain, and I chop it down with the edge of my hand? Will I pick up all the pieces and make an island? Might just raise this a little sand, because I'm a voodoo child. Lord knows I'm a voodoo child. I didn't mean to take up all your sweet time. I'll give it right back to you one of these days. I said, I didn't mean to take up all your sweet time. I'll give it right back to you one of these days. And if I don't meet you no more in this world, then I'll meet you in the next one. And don't be late. Don't be late. Because I'm a voodoo child. Lord knows I'm a voodoo child. I'm a voodoo child. So are you. Cross-examination.
Okay, so why vote F?
Well, I guess we are saying to vote F, or we want people to vote F to affirm the creative will and the power of the creative will, which we think we're affirming throughout the law.
Okay, what's the creative will then?
The creative will is that